Have you ever finished a full day of work, sat down on your couch, and still felt like you should be doing something? Not tired, not relaxed, just guilty. Like rest is something you have to earn. Like the moment you stop moving, something terrible might happen. If that sounds familiar, stay with me. Because this video is not really about work, it is about you. About something running quietly inside you that most people never stop to examine. This is about why millions of Americans cannot slow down, even when they desperately want to. And the answer is not laziness. It is not ambition. It is not even capitalism, though that plays a role. The real answer lives much deeper than that. It lives in the part of you that learned, probably as a child, that your value as a human being is measured by what you produce. Think about that for a second. The morning that reveals everything. Picture a typical American morning. The alarm goes off at 6:15. Before your eyes are fully open, your hand is already reaching for your phone. You check Slack, you check email, you check notifications, not because there is an emergency, not because anyone is waiting, but because somewhere in your nervous system, the day has already started and you are already behind. You get up, make coffee, and while the coffee brews, you listen to a productivity podcast about optimizing your morning routine. You eat breakfast at your desk, not because you have to, because sitting down to eat without doing something else feels wasteful. And later, at 11 p.m., you are still at your laptop, not because the work demands it, but because stopping feels wrong. Does that sound familiar? Because here is what most people do not realize. That behavior is not discipline. That is not ambition. That is anxiety wearing the costume of productivity. When busy becomes a hiding place. Here is something psychology has known for a long time. When people feel afraid, not of lions or fires, but of deeper things like failure, rejection, or becoming irrelevant, they often do not sit with that fear. They run from it. But modern Americans do not run toward danger. They run toward their calendars. Being busy becomes a hiding place. If your schedule is completely full, you never have to sit alone with your own thoughts. You never have to ask yourself the questions that terrify you. Questions like, am I good enough? Do people actually value me? What would happen if I slowed down? What am I actually chasing? Busyness silences those questions, temporarily, and that is why it becomes addictive. Not because it makes you feel good, but because it makes you feel safe, and that changes everything. What your brain learned about worth. Let us go back, way back. When you were young, maybe 6 years old, maybe 8, you started learning something about love. You learned that certain things made the adults in your life smile. Good grades, winning the game, being well-behaved, finishing what you started, being responsible, being impressive, and certain things made them frown. Failing, being average, sitting still without purpose, not knowing the answer. Nobody sat you down and said, your worth as a person depends on your performance. Nobody had to. You just absorbed it. The way children absorb everything. And your brain filed it away as a survival rule. Performance equals love, achievement equals belonging, productivity equals worth. Now you are 28 years old, or 34, or 41. You have a job, a phone, a lease to pay. But you are still running the same software you installed at age 7. And your brain still believes, at a deep, unconscious level, that if you stop producing, something will be taken from you. That is not motivation. That is a wound that learned how to dress itself up as ambition. The trap. Nobody warned you about. Here is where it gets darker. Because American culture does not just tolerate this behavior, it celebrates it. The culture holds up the person who sleeps 4 hours as a warrior. The person who skipped their vacation to close a deal becomes a legend at the office. The side hustle becomes a personality. The 5 a.m. gym session becomes a moral statement. Hustle culture has a brilliant trick. It takes your fear and reframes it as strength. It tells you, the fact that you cannot rest is not a problem. It is proof that you want success more than others. And for a while, it works. You get results, you get praised, you get promoted. But your body is keeping score. Your nervous system, which was never designed to operate in constant high alert, starts to buckle. The sleep gets worse. The patience gets shorter. The joy gets smaller. You start waking up tired after 8 hours. Caffeine stops working as well as it used to. You scroll LinkedIn and feel a familiar dread you cannot quite name. That dread has a name. It is called burnout. And here's the part nobody talks about. Burnout is not caused by working too hard. Burnout is caused by working too hard for too long, without meaning, without genuine recovery, without real connection, without feeling like any of it actually matters. The exhaustion. Underneath the ambition, there is a version of exhaustion that is invisible. Physical exhaustion you can feel. Your legs ache, your eyes burn, you know you are tired. But emotional exhaustion is sneakier. It shows up as irritability, as feeling flat even when good things happen, as doing everything right and still feeling empty. It shows up as that strange sadness you feel on Sunday afternoon, knowing the week is about to start again. Psychologists call this Sunday scaries, but that label makes it sound small, like a quirk, like a personality trait. It is not. Sunday anxiety is your nervous system sending you a signal, a very loud one. It is saying, something about how you are living does not match who you actually are. Most Americans respond to that signal by getting busier, by making another to-do list, by setting another alarm for Monday morning, which is like responding to smoke by turning up the music so you cannot hear the alarm. The loneliness. That ambition hides. Here is something nobody in the productivity space talks about. A lot of what we call ambition is actually loneliness. Think about it. When you are deeply connected, when you feel loved, when you belong, when people truly see you, you do not feel the desperate need to prove yourself. But when that connection is missing, achievement becomes a substitute. You chase the promotion because the promotion feels like proof. Proof that you matter. Proof that you belong. Proof that your existence here is worth something. The applause becomes a replacement for intimacy. The LinkedIn likes become a replacement for being genuinely seen. The revenue milestone becomes a replacement for feeling truly loved. And so, you keep working, keep pushing, keep optimizing, not because success is around the corner, but because stopping means feeling what is actually there underneath. And underneath the busyness, a very tired person who is not sure they are enough without all of it. Be honest with yourself, even just for a moment. How social media made everything worse. Before social media, your reference point for success was your neighborhood, your family, the people you actually knew. That world was manageable. Imperfect, yes, but manageable. Now your reference point is every successful person on the planet, all day, every day. You scroll Instagram and see a 27-year-old who built a 7-figure business from their laptop. You open LinkedIn and see a college classmate getting promoted to VP. You watch a YouTube video about someone who retired at 33 through real estate investing. Your brain, which evolved in small tribal communities, was never built for this. Your brain was built to compare itself to roughly 150 people, the size of a healthy hunter-gatherer tribe. Now it is comparing itself to millions, simultaneously, while you are sitting in your car eating a sandwich for lunch because you did not have time for a real break. And every comparison activates the same ancient fear. You are falling behind. You are not doing enough. Other people have figured something out that you have not. And so you open another browser tab, download another app, listen to another episode about how to wake up earlier, work smarter, optimize harder. And slowly, without realizing it, you stop living your actual life. You start living a performance of productivity for an audience that is not even watching. The dopamine cycle. You cannot see. There is a neurological reason hustle culture is addictive. Every time you check something off your to-do list, your brain releases a small hit of dopamine. The reward chemical. It is the same chemical that fires when you eat sugar, when you get a text message, when your post gets likes. And just like sugar or social media, it creates a cycle. You feel the reward. Then the reward fades. Then you need another task, another win, another metric to feel okay again. Your brain starts associating motion with safety and stillness with danger. So rest does not feel restful. It feels threatening. It feels like falling behind. It feels like the moment something bad will finally catch up to you. This is why ambitious people often struggle more with relaxation than with hard work. Hard work is easy. You have been doing it since you were 7. Rest requires a level of safety that years of achievement-based living has quietly destroyed. The body that keeps the score. Your body knows things your mind refuses to admit. The tension you carry in your shoulders at 9 p.m. The clenching in your chest on Monday mornings. The shallow breathing you do not notice because it has been normal for so long. The headaches, the digestive issues, the skin that breaks out during high-stress weeks. These are not random. These are your nervous system flying a flag. Your body has been living in low-grade fight or flight for years. Not because you are in danger, but because your brain cannot distinguish between a genuine threat, a bear, a fire, an actual emergency, and the threat of an unread email, a missed deadline, a competitor moving faster. To your ancient nervous system, falling behind at work feels like being exiled from the tribe. And exile, for our ancestors, meant death. So your body responds accordingly. It floods you with cortisol. It keeps you vigilant. It makes rest feel irresponsible. And you interpret that as drive, as work ethic, as proof that you care. When really, it is your nervous system stuck in survival mode, and surviving is not the same as living. What the system gets from your exhaustion. Here is something that will make you uncomfortable. The hustle culture narrative, the one that tells you to outwork everyone, sleep when you are dead, sacrifice your present for your future, is not a neutral idea. It is a story that benefits some people more than others. When workers internalize the belief that their worth is equal to their output, they become self-managing, self-policing. They do not need a boss standing over them demanding more hours. They demand it of themselves. They take pride in overwork. They shame themselves for rest. They compete with coworkers over who sacrificed more. And the system runs smoothly, quietly, without ever having to force anyone. This does not mean your ambition is fake. Your dreams are real. Your desire to build something meaningful is real. But it is worth asking, how much of what you are chasing is actually what you want? And how much of it was handed to you as the definition of a successful American life before you were old enough to choose for yourself? The version of you before the conditioning, before the grades mattered, before the resume started, before the salary became a measure of your value. There was a version of you who played without agenda, who rested without guilt, who did not know what a productivity hack was. That person did not disappear. They got buried under expectations, under comparisons, under years of being told that what you do is who you are. And here is the painful truth that might also be the most freeing thing you read today. You were never supposed to earn your worth. Worth is not a reward for performance. It is not something you unlock after reaching a certain income level or title. It is not something other people grant you for working hard enough. You were born with it. Every exhausted, overworked, burned-out human reading this was born with unconditional worth. And the fact that so many of you do not feel that, the fact that it sounds almost ridiculous when you read it, is the saddest and most important thing about American culture right now. The moment the trap breaks open. There is usually a moment. For some people, it is a health scare, a panic attack in a meeting, a night when you cannot stop crying and you do not even know why. For others, it is quieter, a Sunday morning when you look at your phone and feel absolutely nothing. Not excitement, not motivation, just emptiness. Or the moment you realize you cannot remember the last time you laughed without your mind drifting back to your task list. That moment, whatever form it takes for you, is not a breakdown. It is a breakthrough trying to happen. It is the part of you that still remembers who you are before all the grinding. Knocking on the door. Most Americans ignore that knock. They schedule a therapy session, add some self-care to their to-do list, buy a new journal, optimize their morning routine, and go right back to the behavior that caused the breakdown in the first place. Because they do not understand something crucial. This is not a productivity problem. This is an identity problem. The question is not, how do I work more sustainably? The question is, who am I when I am not producing anything? The identity that work built. Here is something that takes a long time to see clearly. For most high-achieving Americans, work is not just something they do, it is who they are. Ask a stranger about themselves at a party. What is the first thing they say? Their job title, what they do, how busy they are, what they are building. Almost never. What brings them joy, what they love, how they feel. And this makes complete sense. Because from a young age, this is how Americans learn to introduce themselves to the world. What do you want to be when you grow up? Not, what kind of person do you want to become? Not, what do you want to feel? Not, what do you want to give? What do you want to be? So identity fuses with occupation. And when your identity is your job, losing the job, or failing at it, is not just a professional setback. It feels like disappearing. This is why layoffs devastate people beyond the financial hit. This is why retirement is surprisingly hard for people who were defined by their careers. This is why even a bad performance review can send someone into a quiet spiral for weeks. Your job threatening your income is scary. But your job threatening your sense of self? That is existential. And so you protect it. You overinvest in it. You sacrifice sleep, health, relationships, anything to keep that identity intact. Not because you love the work that much, but because without it you are not sure who you are. That is the trap, and most Americans will never name it out loud, but they feel it every single day. The real revolution. The world will try to convince you that the answer is a better system, a better morning routine, a better time-blocking method, a better way to manage your inbox, and those things can help on the surface. But the deeper work, the work that actually changes your life, is quieter and harder. It is sitting with the discomfort of doing nothing and not immediately reaching for your phone. It is letting a meal be just a meal, not a lunch meeting, not a content opportunity, just food, with taste. Eaten slowly. It is spending time with people you love without half your mind still at work. It is learning, slowly, that the world does not fall apart when you rest, that your value does not decrease during the hours you are not producing, that the people who truly love you do not love you for your output. What you are actually chasing. Before this video ends, I want you to consider something. Whatever you are chasing, the promotion, the business, the financial freedom, the impressive life you have imagined, what is it actually for? Not the surface answer, the real one. Most people, when they sit with that question long enough, arrive at the same place. They want to feel safe. They want to feel loved. They want to feel like they matter. And those things, genuine safety, genuine love, genuine belonging, cannot be earned through productivity. They are built through presence, through vulnerability, through the courage to stop performing and start actually living. Success is not the enemy. Ambition is not the enemy. The enemy is the belief that you cannot be at peace until you have achieved enough, because enough never comes. The goalposts always move. The milestone always expands. The comparison always finds a new target. The only way off that treadmill is to stop and ask, what if I am already enough? Not as a slogan, not as a mantra you repeat while pushing yourself harder, as a genuine truth you begin to live inside of. The most courageous thing. In a culture that worships busyness, choosing rest is an act of rebellion. Choosing to value yourself apart from your productivity is radical. Choosing to build a life around joy, connection, and meaning instead of metrics and milestones, that takes more courage than any side hustle. You do not need to blow up your life. You do not need to quit your job or move to the mountains. You just need to start telling yourself a different story. A story where your worth was never for sale. A story where rest is not laziness. It is intelligence. A story where slowing down is not falling behind. It is finally catching up to yourself. Because the most important destination in your life is not a salary. It is not a title. It is not a number in a bank account. It is the moment you feel genuinely okay in your own skin. Without the hustle, without the noise, without having to prove anything to anyone. That moment is available to you, right now. Not when you hit the next goal, not after the next promotion. Now. The question is whether you are willing to stop long enough to find it. If this video described something real in your life, do not just continue scrolling. Sit with it for a moment. Ask yourself, what am I actually running from? And then, gently, without judgment, begin to walk toward the answer. That is not the end of your ambition. That is the beginning of something far more powerful. That is the beginning of knowing who you are.